Mike, you've just run the last spida for the camp for Brad Riddell and the second last for Shane Young. Um, what's your thoughts?
Oh, it's pretty good. I mean, Brad has always emptied his tank. He's well ready. I think the key with Brad is actually making sure he doesn't overexert himself because he's always super fit. And so is his puppy, who you can hear squealing in the background. And Shane put it in there as well. So last opportunity with the full team around them, everyone put in a good effort. So that was good.
The gym has been really busy over the last 3 days. You've had spiders for different events coming up.
Yeah, well, it's actually been quite challenging because if you've got guys on a Friday, you've got guys on a Saturday, and obviously guys on a Sunday, all doing their major blowout at a similar time and on the same day that they're going to be fighting. It's just something that you do to ensure that your body and your mentality is prepared for that hard blowout on the day that you're fighting. You kind of condition it over this course of the camp. So, but look, we've got a great team. Just said to the boys afterwards what a good team we have, where people are just turning up and getting the job done, and you can't do it, you can't fight without a team, so that's pretty, we're lucky to have that opportunity and that number of really good people who are willing to sacrifice and turn up.
So over there you meet up with George Hickman or Frank?
It'll be Frankie. Alex Volkanovski's obviously fighting as well. Joe Lopez. It'll be good for Brad this week, doing some work with Frankie in the wrestling department. Who's familiar with the freestyle kind of wrestling in particular. Got that long-standing NCAA pedigree that he can bring to the wrestling. So that's an ideal way for Brad to be finishing his camp with a guy like Gillespie. And obviously I join them later in the week for fight time. So it's exciting times.
Well, you're not only an integral part of the gym here, it's the fight camp, the tactics as well. Does Gregor bring up anything that's a little bit different that you have to look out for?
Oh, look, in terms of the two dangerous grapplers in that division, you've got Makhachev and Gregor Gillespie. Both bring different things there. Gillespie is a real intense wrestler, really high pedigree, obviously, and he's very keen to close down the distance, bridge the gap, and then he's going to ride you all day if you allow him to do it. So, obviously, there's a strategy around that. The coaching boys speak every day pretty much about what we're doing there. It's a challenge, but Gillespie's not been in with a striker of Brad's pedigree, with his accuracy, and I dare say he won't have been in with a guy who has the conditioning that Brad has. Both of these guys have massive gas tanks, so. Brad, you'd have to break both his legs and one arm, and he's still probably dangerous. So, there's a mentality in there, and I think that, they could very well sleep on his own grappling ability. I mean, he can slam down his hips real hard, so we'll see.
And with Shane a week later?
Yeah, well, Shane's got a fight against another really experienced kickboxer, Omar Morales. Dangerous fight. The guy can whack. The guy can really smack. So again, you got to minimise his strengths, maximise your own. And Shane's a guy who again has a very good gas tank. He's a big diesel engine that keeps on going and going. So that's obviously an attribute that he'll want to work on.
We can move back, I hope, to a week ago. And what was your takes on the fights in 259?
You have mixed feelings. Superb from Kai, obviously, and look, that is a testament to both his own fortitude, but also some of the preparation that was done in the gym. That was absolute worst case scenario. You're dry, you have your back taken in the first minute and you spend the next 4 minutes trying to get him off your back, you know, and he transitioned, he fought the hands constantly. It's very easy to allow your mind to lapse for a second, and it's just a mental lapse often that will allow him to get that extra millimetre that's required to get the squeeze on. But look, he was calm, he was composed, he realised that trying to get that squeeze on takes the energy out of the arms, and sometimes when they get up, that's when they're most vulnerable because they're using a different energy system. And you know, Kai can smack, and that's one of the things when you're going up against, I guess, a high-level grappler, is you have to have confidence in your ability to land and finish, you know, and you have to take the opportunity. And often with strikers, they become hesitant about what their strength is. But you know, you have to train for the poor positions, and you know, and have the confidence that when you get up, you've got the energy to put it on them, because it doesn't take long.
And what about Carlos? He looked like he was going to have a quick finish too at the start of the fight.
Yeah, well, look, I think Carlos is still relatively inexperienced in the fight game. He's got through on some, you know, some really raw potential. You know, he hits hard. He's physically very strong. He's highly athletic. He's got great reactions, but he's still got polishing he needs to do. And sometimes that happens in a fight career. You know, normally that might happen in an amateur career of 50, 60 fights. You know, that you learn that you can't blow out the guy, and what do you do when you can't blow out the guy? So he'll learn from that. You know, a couple of mistakes that are easy to correct, and obviously a recognised fight of the night. He'll be disappointed, but I'm more excited about what we can learn from that, you know, and how much more he can develop, because there's huge upside to that guy. And if you have a look at Izzy, obviously disappointing, you know. There were some adjustments that could be made, but look, Blachowicz was blowing at the end of the fourth, or at the beginning of the fourth actually. He was laboured, and yeah, he blew through for the takedown, but he was definitely tired. And you know, the seconds and millimetres are what wins you fights. And you know, Blachowicz managed to get that takedown. Izzy probably got a little bit tense, you know, trying to put it on him, which closed the distance a little more and allowed him to get the second takedown. But you know, judging aside, you know, that was probably a 2-2 bout, drawn bout as they went into the fifth, and Israel was winning the first half of the fifth. You know, he got taken down. Jan had a great game plan. He worked well with the jab. He timed it. He kept his distance, which made it more difficult for Israel to land his own jab. And you know, he checked well. He got hit by some big leg kicks, but you know, he's a guy who can check well. So you know, you've got to give credit to the guy. You know, he did his homework. He fought well. And when he needed to make the adjustment, he did. He took home the victory. But, you know, there's a guy who's maybe 12, 13 kilos heavier on top of you. Yeah, of course, you've got to learn to deal with it. But it does make a difference if you do that, and, you know, you're going up there and you're experiencing that kind of heavyweight ground control for the first time. You only got to learn from that, you know. And you know, let's not forget, you know, the ridiculous scoring aside. And let's be clear. The scoring of 10-8 rounds was stupid, you know, incompetent. In fact, I hope you guys are watching in the Nevada State Athletic Commission. That was incompetent refereeing. That's not understanding how you give out an 8 count. You can't score a fifth round 10-8. If the guy loses the first half of the round for a start and there was no serious damage done. Anyway, you know, that said, no argument with Jan winning the fight. He absolutely won the fight. There were close rounds, and you can see how a judge could go either way, but when you're starting to deliberately hand out 10-8s for no reason, you know, it demonstrates a lack of understanding of the game. And that can be frustrating, you know, when guys work so hard. You know, 10-8 is huge in a fight like that. But look, we'll get back to the drawing board. You know, you've got Costa, Whitaker, you got Vittori fighting Till. You know, ironically, two left-handers against each other and two right-handers against each other. So it'll be interesting to see how the left-handers deal with it. Vittori, he's been yapping for a while now. And obviously Costa needs redemption. Whitaker, I think, has done more than enough to re-establish his claim. And he'll be hard to deny if he beats Costa. But we'll see. Obviously, Darren Till presents a real threat as well. So interesting times. But you can guarantee that Izzy's likely to be fighting, middle or before sort of the 3/4 of the year through, I'd suggest.
Can we go back a week before? I know you kept out of the build-up to the Farr versus Parker fight. Now that it's all over, what was your take on that?
Joe won, didn't have an argument with the decision. Had an argument with, again, judges who can't do the basics right. 109, 119. I'm sorry, there's only two explanations for that. That is either incompetence or bias. All right, so let's just hope that is actually incompetence. There were clear rounds in that fight. I'd suggest 4 clear rounds that Junior won, probably slightly more clear rounds that Joe won, but at least 4. And then you have the other 4 that are, they're kind of swing rounds. And to an extent you can justify, I think the 117, 111 score. I wouldn't. I think there were 4 clear rounds, but that's giving 3 to Junior. I think there were more, but I wouldn't be as harsh on that particular scorecard. But I think everyone's probably more along the lines of 112, 116. Most people I know that watched it. Junior's going to have to learn from that. There are opportunities where he had to probably land a little more and just be a little bit more assertive. But what you could see there was a game plan and a fighter who stuck to a game plan and kept it very simple, and that frustrated Joe and exposed some things there. So, Junior's proved he belongs in that top 15 echelon. And I think, although many people may disagree, it's actually a good result for New Zealand boxing. Joe, I think, will go out and beat Chisora. We know what Chisora brings. He can be tricky on the inside. He will apply pressure, and he's a decent puncher. But Joe's hand speed, provided he doesn't get clipped by a magical headbutt early in the bout, should be enough for him. And he's been in tough rounds with the likes of Ruiz. He's continued to press forward. Question with him is, how does he transition with a new coach coming on board? But I expect him to win that, and that'll very quickly put the disappointment with the Farr fight. It's another victory, and then obviously Junior with a good performance. He's up there and ready for other potential decent fights, decent paydays. So, look, people want to see knockouts, people want to see stand and bang, but you want to win the fight, and you want to position yourself in the best position to be a professional fighter and get the best paydays you can. And I think those guys are probably there. Joe does need a good performance, though, absolutely.
Hey, thanks, Mike, and good luck overseas, and we'll see you when you get back, and hope we can have another talk to you then.
Sweet as, boys. Cheers.
Cheers. Covered a bit of ground there, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
That's good.